Okay, so we'll first start with a smaller circle, divide it into half, after which we'll have another circle around it. And now we're going to make the shape of the eye. So a lot of us make the shape of the eye like a leaf, correct? Or something, I don't know, like this. So all this while you've been making the eyes in a decorative pattern. So please understand that it's not to be done in rhythmic decorative pattern. Rather, if you work in planes, all right, what is working in planes? These are working in planes. Okay, so you work with lines coming together and not with curves, right? So we're going to make a tear duct over here at the beginning. And then we have angles, okay? So if you see the eyes, a lot of us have the eye either protruding upwards or protruding like straight or going downwards, okay? That depends upon the shape of our eyes, isn't it? So everything what we're going to use is generic, okay? Something that looks aesthetic. So we're going to have one angle going upwards. And the same thing on the other side, we have the angle coming downwards. After which, we have like a parallel line. So either this parallel line, you can continue up here, or depending upon the angle, the shape, you know, it can come a little slant downwards, okay? Or to make it more, systematic, you can join these angles. Now, after you've joined this angle, we know the angle that has to come for the back and the front. Okay? And then now you can shape it however you want to. You can shape it like this, or you can continue with this line itself, and then it goes down, or you can even make it like a little up, and then it goes down. So it depends upon the shape of the eye. So currently we keep the angle the same way, okay? We'll not do anything. Just one thing is that the lower one, we can take it inwards, or we can take it, straight up, again, depending upon whether we want a round eye or a fish eye, right? So just take a curve over here. So you see the shape of the eye is not leaf. It is something like this. It's angular. And that's why using the plain format will really help you make it more realistic and less decorative. Then from here, we'll shape up the eye. So then the shape of the eye actually becomes the tear duct. Then we'll take this up and round the corners. Then this, I'm going to take it a little straight instead of taking it down. And then I'm going to get it down. The same way, down. I'm going to take it upwards and then extremely up. So look at the angles of how it's working. Now moving forward, you will see that, this area, right, and a little bit of this area is always, this little skin that you can see, right? So you need to make sure that it comes. So while drawing, I am going to draw this both ends. So there is a gap between the eyeball and the lashes. So that very thin line is going to be up as well as down. So for the upper side, you can do it inwards like this. And for the lower side, you can do it outwards. Very, very thin line. Now, after this is done, okay, we divide the inner circle into standing and sleeping. And that's where we make another big circle. So that is for your lens, all right? And then we have the iris, which is, the black part of your lens. So whatever color your eye is, right? Whether it's blue, green, brown, black, whatever, any color eye, this inside thing is always black for any colored eye, and the color eye is basically the remaining. So this can be a different color. Okay, it could be blue, it could be green, but the inside circle is always black. And this is a construction, it's a drawing. So your eyes will not look realistic unless you pencil shade it or you add the tonal values. We have the lids, okay, the eyelids. So, you know, you have this circular thing that you see. Okay, so this joins here and this joins here. And then we have the lower area, you know, the dark circle patch of ours. Okay, that's where it is, okay? That outer circle is where basically the nose and the brows are. Get it? So we're not going to do that. We are only studying the construction of the eye. Understood the construction? So you can even do one thing. You can make this like a round. Okay, so you know, okay, my nose will go, you know, from here. And you can make place for the eyebrows. So eyebrows go like this and then it comes down. Okay, so this is your eyebrows area. So just make the lines because again, as I said, it's just construction. And now we're going to convert this drawing into a realistic eye. All right. So what you're going to do is you're going to draw this again right next to the construction of the eye in pencil. Okay, we're not going to use pen anymore. So I'm going to draw that eyes similarly. So the first thing is the inside area. I'm going to color it completely black. Okay. I'm going to leave a little area here, which is, you know, the highlight in the eye, which is always there. Then this upper area is always dark. The shadow of the lashes and the upper lid falls, and that's why that's the darkest part. Okay. And then whenever you're shading, it's going to be from outside to inside. So outside dark lines like hatching will go inwards. And again, the edges will also be a little darker. Okay, and then we have the lines, and then from the inwards, it will come out. Okay, and then you need to basically join them in between at some parts. So this is how the eye should look like. We have this area, which is, you know, a little darker. And then shadow will even fall over here. Correct? Then we have the shadows falling in this area because it's a round, right? It's a sphere. So our eyes is not flat. It takes a spherical curve. And that's the reason why there will be shadows at the edges to make it look rounder, to make it look dimensional, or it look like flat on the wall. And everything has to be done with 4B, okay? Now the same thing we'll be doing it here, okay? We'll be having the shading over here, right? Because of the fold. Then we'll be having shading over here because of the fold. Here, it will not be nothing over here because that's the bone that protrudes out. And that's why there will be the light falling on that bone and it will shine. But the sides of it is going inwards and that's why it will be middle tone. Okay. You will have this area also, which is dark because lower lid shadow is falling down. So even this area you'll find is dark. Okay, even this a little bit of, you know, it will be in dark. Actually, even this will be a little in the middle tone. Correct? Now, very, very important is the lashes. Okay, because lashes is something that you don't mess up with. So there's an angle, there is a way of even creating the lashes. Okay, if this is the shape of your eye, correct? So look at the direction. When you start here, right, it goes in this direction. When you come in the center, it's almost like 90 degree. Okay, and as you go this way, it again curves in that angle, right? And obviously this one, like, it's higher on the sides and lesser towards the tear duct, right? So we need to maintain that. So even here, it comes downwards in this arrow, then this is like almost 90 degree, and then it turns the other way. And it's a curve, it's not a line. Okay, we are curving. Get it? So I'm going to show you how it is to be done over here. So I have like little lines here, but I'm going to have more lines towards the side, and you can even do it like this. You can double it also, right? So it goes up. So I'm making it like this, doubling it to give it a little more, volume, right? And the same thing I'll do it down. Same thing with the eyebrows. We don't ever do color the eyebrows like this, okay? We have a shape of the eyebrows. So it's actually strokes. So you need to stroke it in that angle, and then the strokes turns, which goes downwards, that's where the angle is. So here we'll have almost going like 60, like 90 degree up in the center. And then you increase, okay, as much as you want, however thick you want your brows to be, right? And then it becomes thinner on the sides, right? And then you can apply more layers to basically combine them together. So brows is always with lines. You'll never draw the brows. Okay, you can draw it as a rough sketch, but it's basically more based on the lines. So we'll start with a horizontal line. Then again, I'll make a line like this horizontally. So I have these two circles next to each other. Then from here, we have the nose going inwards like conically. And here as well from the sides. And it will come down. So you see, that's how the angle is created like this. See? So that's how it starts looking 3D. Then this turns towards the eye. After this, we'll shape the nose. So here, this will go inwards. This will be inwards. Part of the nostril. And a little shape here underneath. So if you see here, to give dimensions, this much part of the nose always goes on the shadow. This is the lower part of the nose, right? So this is the front, this is the side, this is the side, right? This is the bottom. So now we'll start shading it. So the first tone will be all in this area. Also, it depends upon, how the light falls, okay, on the nose. So this is like basics. Then depending upon the different, lights and different angle, it's all going to change. But basic construction is basic construction, right? Okay, so we'll have the tonal value coming all the way on the first layer, right? So that's how, your center bone highlights, correct? So you see, if I have to make it darker, I just start cross hatching. So, it becomes so easy. We can make this area, see this area even more darker, but not that dark. So what happens is when this area is darker, you see this becomes lighter, and that helps you give the 3D. Right? And then this is going to be the darkest, where the nostrils are. So then it starts looking like a nose. Okay. And then we have the lips. Again, it's pretty simple. So we start with a horizontal line. Okay. And then we have the center line. One here, one here. And then you can make a big circle, like a bigger oval down. And then you have the shape going downwards from both the side. And then it goes up, okay? It goes slightly up. And that up, merges with the center line. So that's the shape of the lips. Not this. Okay. So this way I take it a little up and then get it down. Take it a little up and get it down, you see? That's how the lip formation happens. And the middle is nothing. It's just like, and just, there's a little curve here and just goes up. That's it. We don't even do the sides. We don't even go to join them because we'll be shading it. So I'll start shading by putting, so this area is always dark, okay? The sides, because it creates kind of like a hole on both the sides. So that's going to be dark. And the center, because there's a gap between the upper and the lower lip. So that's also going to be like the darkest part. So the entire upper lip that we have, okay, that I'll be giving it in one tone. Like this will be a little darker because of the, so here the shade actually goes down, okay, around the lips, not inside the lips. And even if it's going inside, like let's do it a little inside, but you see how light it is? So the first layer, and then gradually we'll start increasing the layer, but in a shape, okay? So the shape basically again like lashes. It kind of like from the center goes upwards because we have like a lot of creases on the lips, isn't it? So this is how you'll be shading it, crease. Like lashes going up and like lashes coming down. Even your shading has to be sometimes done according to the shape of the element so that it makes it look even more dimensional. See how the upper lips is getting darker and darker? This area, the inside, this area, this will be a little darker. So hardly any shading coming in. Like just 2-3 layers should, be okay for the lower lip, but around 5-6 layers for the upper lip. And the shading of the lower lip is, as I said, it happens outwards, right? So you start shading the skin around the lower lip. So that will give you the highlight of the lower lip. The protruding of the lower lip will only be seen once you do the skin part of it, which is outside, not inwards. So there is even this area, which is, your upper lips. Okay, so you can even do that so it even looks a little more realistic. There is a light, if you see above your lip, it looks like there's a white line, right? So everyone has that. I mean, our skin tone definitely has it. It starts looking even more realistic. So if you want to show a smiling, give her a more depth around the side so it looks like smiling. If you don't want to smile, remove the depth. So as you keep practicing, it will happen.